How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to X-Men What Ifs. And today we're going back to the classic, but not too classic, Whacky What Ifs. Just like I said in the past episode, these what ifs aren't really taken too seriously in my writing and hopefully in your opinion. So don't go too crazy with this, going like, oh, well, this should have happened or this should have happened, and that definitely shouldn't happen. This is just for fun, and it's just my own little way of getting out some ideas that doesn't go too far out of reach, pretty much. With that out of the way, let's start with our first contestant. So this what if is going to be, what if Frieza was sent to Earth? And I actually have seen a YouTuber do this one, and that YouTuber makes amazing content. But I wanted to explore this story. By the way, if you made this story and see this, sorry, and thanks for the inspiration. Hopefully you don't get mad at all. Okay, so Frieza being sent to Earth. Not really sure how or why this would happen, but let's run with the idea. So, why would Frieza be sent to Earth? Well, let's say that King Cold wanted his son to get a feel of how the universe is without their aid, and this would be the reason. This would be around the time Frieza would enslave the Saiyans, but this time, it would be because of King Cold. Once Frieza would land on Earth, Frieza would be pissed off. And I'm pretty sure he'd just decimate the Earth once one person would call him ugly or just one little sly comment. But let's say that Frieza was able to meet Grandpa Gohan, and Gohan would help Frieza get around. Gohan would be very nice to this stranger, with Frieza not caring, but Gohan's cooking and skills would show some promise for the future of the Frieza Force. Frieza would get annoyed about Gohan talking about training, but this idea would stay at the back of his mind. Frieza would soon enough begin a conquest around the planet, as he would examine Earth's technology and its worth. Frieza would decide that this planet could use some correction, so before he'd head back to his father, he would use the Earth as a way to build up his own empire. Frieza would then kill the King of Earth and take up the position as Emperor. Frieza would create armies of soldiers together and would come across many companies, but the two that would pique his interest the most would be Capsule Corp and the Red Ribbon Army. He would combine the two technology forces into his army, and soon after a few years, he would secretly be enjoying his residence of Earth, as Earth would begin to become home for him. One day, Frieza would meet Bulma, but Bulma would keep the project of the Dragon Balls a secret, as no one knew what their emperor would do with them. Frieza in this time would come across many assassins, but no one would be able to best him. He would take the powerful ones under his wing and train them up, so then they could be around the same level as his other subordinates. Soon enough, Frieza would venture back to King Cold, but King Cold would see that something has changed in his son, and that Earth has changed him for the worst. Cold would decide to destroy Earth, but Frieza would unconsciously punch Cold away. Frieza would snap at the first thought of his new home being destroyed, and this would outrage Cold. King Cold would tell his son that he will have to learn the hard way, so to head back to Earth and prepare his little forces. Frieza would then head back to Earth, where he would inform his empire that they're going to war against his father King Cold, and that they need to prepare. Frieza would get all of his masters of the planet and have them train his army soldiers. King Cold in this time would still have the Saiyans around, and he would inform the Saiyans to prepare for war. Frieza would have to bite the pill and decide to train with Grandpa Gohan. Gohan would be stunned to see Frieza's transformations and would see it best for Frieza to stay in his final form for training. A year would pass of full training, and soon enough, King Cold's ship would arrive on Earth with armies of Saiyans spreading across the planet, and Frieza would send his army out. Whenever the Saiyans would attempt to use their power moons, it wouldn't work, as Frieza would have his scientists create artificial moon absorbers. The humans and the Saiyans would go through a bloody battle until Frieza would arrive and kill off many Saiyans until King Cold would blast his son away. The two would then engage in battle, with Frieza that his training would be best in Cold, and Cold would be infuriated by this. Cold would power up into his final form as well, and their battle would shake the planet, and Cold would begin to finally get the upper hand on his son. Cold would finally have Frieza pinned down, and would tell Frieza that this planet will be destroyed, and that Frieza will die with it. Frieza would then smirk, saying that he's not the one who will die today. Frieza would then burst out his aura, which would push Cold back, and the carnage from the battlefield would stop, as both sides would look up to the sky where Frieza would be. Frieza would then tell Cold that ever since he came to Earth, there was always something there that would disgust him, but soon enough, he understood that what Earth has is peace and prosperity. Frieza would say that yes, he is the Emperor of Earth, but he actually looks out for his subjects. Frieza would then burst out a golden aura that would light up the sky of Earth. Frieza would then become Golden Frieza and would fire a Kamehameha that would push Cold all the way into deep space. Frieza would then land down on the battlefield, saying that the Saiyans are free now, and not to waste their chance of freedom. Some Saiyans would decide to stay a while others would decide to go back to planet Vegeta to prosper on their own. After the battle, Frieza would look upon his throne that he would have created, and he would decide that he doesn't need a throne to lead his people. As Frieza begins to relax, King Cold's limp body would float in space in bits and pieces. But those bits and pieces would be coming across a large silver entity, the Big Getty Star. Now, this next one is going to be what if Gohan was the reincarnation of Yamoshi, but before I do that, I need to voice my opinion on Beast/Finals Gohan. Oh my god. The first thing that comes to mind is fan service, and that Gohan Black is technically canon, or not Gohan Black, Gohan Blanco or whatever it was, is now canon, and I really don't think the form was necessary. And if anything, Superhero really should have been solely about Piccolo, and they really didn't need to add that little transformation for Gohan. I was happy and content with the orange Piccolo, because that's actually pretty cool, but a really dumb way to present it. Man, just feels like, and I'm not for sure if this is right or not, but it feels like Gohan was just an afterthought for this, which sucks, because it just so unnecessary. Honestly, the movie could have been good if it was just like Piccolo and Pan getting the work in, but I just really honestly hate the form, and don't think it's gonna grow on me in a good way. Sorry if I disappointed some people with that, but that's just how I feel, or a condensed version of how I feel. So, let's go to this idea of what if Gohan was a reincarnation of Yamoshi. This also means that Gohan will be the only Saiyan to possess Super Saiyan God. Gohan would begin to grow up as normal, but he would be a bit different, a bit stronger. Goku would see that Gohan's power would become so strong to the point that it would become undetectable. Other than that, things really don't change much for Gohan, but I will say this. If anything, Gohan gets Super Saiyan earlier because of Yamoshi's spirit. How earlier, you may be asking? Well, definitely not during the Saiyan Saga to Frieza Saga. Let's say that he's able to get the Super Saiyan form before entering the chamber, once Piccolo gets defeated by Cell. Gohan would sense Piccolo's presence begin to fade, and in that moment, he emerges into Super Saiyan. This means that Gohan would get a head start when entering the time chamber, with Goku actually being able to bring Super Saiyan 2 out of Gohan in the chamber, so once Gohan faces Cell, he doesn't become power hungry and is able to get the job done, or I guess power drunk. The story continues, but this time with Goku surviving, and with Gohan continuing his training. Goku and Chi-Chi would soon enough have Goten, but this is about Gohan, not Goten, so Goten's not going to have the same perks. Gohan's time at Orange Star High School would go the same, but of course he'd just be a little bit stronger because of his training. The World Tournament would come around, as per normal, with Videl being able to defeat Spopovich. They then go to Babidi's ship, and Babidi is able to control Vegeta because of Vegeta's hatred for Goku and Gohan staying ahead. Goku and Vegeta would clash, with Gohan trying to take out Buu himself, but it ends with him being sent to the realm of the Kais. I'm really dragging this out, so I'm going to get to where the story really picks up. Gohan is beginning to get the ritual done, and while he's patiently waiting, Elder Kai and Shin feel that something's different with the boy. Gohan's hair and presence would begin to change as his godly potential is brought out. Once the ritual is finished, Gohan powers up, but this time, he awakens a different power. Goku and the Kais are astonished as Gohan's aura becomes a fiery red, Super Saiyan God. Gohan's power would be felt across the universe and would make something awaken. Gohan would feel like this power is familiar to him, but would also feel a presence, something that originates this power. Gohan would return to Earth, where Piccolo would be astonished. Gohan would easily be able to defeat Buu, and since he's been training, he doesn't get power drunk and finishes Super Buu off before anything could happen. Gohan would then power out of the form, with Goku and the others being beyond stunned of his new powers, with the Kais even being in awe, but then in fear, as a bright light would light up the sky of the Kais. With Gohan awakening the power of Super Saiyan God, Beerus would awaken from this and would ask Whis about this, and Whis would direct them towards Earth. Once arriving, Gohan would be out of energy, and Beerus would be impressed, but disappointed. He found the Super Saiyan God, but now he's out of energy? Whis easily heals Gohan, and Beerus demands a fight, and this would be awkward for Gohan, but then Beerus would add that he'd destroy the planet if not given a challenge. Now, how strong would this hypothetical god Gohan be? Since he's been getting a head start on training and hasn't slacked off, I'm gonna say that Gohan's full power in this form would be stronger than canon God Goku from Battle of Gods, but not stronger than Resurrection F Goku. Beerus would then have a rigorous battle, with their battle showing that Gohan is more than he lets on, and that he may be that exact person from his dream. Beerus would be impressed with Gohan's strength, and would decide to train Gohan, and Gohan would agree, as he would already have a balanced schedule between training and studies. The events of Super continue, but since Yamoshi's soul has been reincarnated, the others wouldn't have Super Saiyan God, so the form would be unique to Gohan. Gohan would begin to train with Whis and begin to truly hone his power, with Goku and Vegeta, who would be revived, would begin to find their own evolutions of power. Now this next what if is going to be a villain team up between Babidi and Moro, and I named this one What If Babidi and Moro Teamed Up. This is a weird one I thought up of, and the thought came when they related Moro to the old Kais. Now Moro happens much sooner than Buu does, because we see that the Kais are able to seal his magic before they're killed by Kid Buu. The events of the two magicians stay the same until Babidi goes across the universe looking for powerful slaves. Sure, Dabura and his other minions are strong, but he needs someone who could truly seal the deal. Babidi would use his magic to look for powerful forces in the universe, and soon enough he comes across Moro, but scary enough, Moro senses him as well. Babidi would be scared that Moro would be able to detect him, but also intrigued. Seems like this guy knows how to deal with magic. Babidi and Moro would get to talking, with Babidi telling Moro that he'll bust him out of prison if he does his bidding, and Moro agrees, as his old age was catching up to him. Now, which of the magicians is stronger, you may be asking? Well, I hope that should be obvious. It would definitely be Moro. Moro shows that he doesn't solely rely on his magic to fight. He also shows that he has some combat training, or that he just can fight by himself. Keep this in mind. Babidi would soon enough show up to the galactic prison, and once arriving, Moro tells Babidi to lend his strength to not only himself, but the other prisoners. Babidi would love this idea of having his own army of slaves, so he does this, and possesses all of the prisoners, including Moro, and the prisoners kill many galactic patrol agents, and leave the prison to burn in space. With Babidi having a larger crew now, they head to Earth, and just in time for a certain tournament. The tournament would be going as normal, but Shin would be getting nervous, as he wouldn't spot any of Babidi's minions. To his horror, large ships would enter the atmosphere, and he would feel many malicious energy signatures. Babidi's minions would then begin to spread across the planet after certain artifacts, and Babidi would then lure the fighters to his ship, and Goku faces Yakon, Vegeta faces Pui Pui, with Gohan going up against Dabura, but before Dabura retreats, Moro steps in and begins to face Gohan. Moro would taunt Gohan to try to coax more power out of Gohan through rage, and this works, with Gohan powering up even more, but then soon enough, everyone feels their energy begin to fade, as the surrounding life begins to die. Gohan soon enough realizes what's going on, but it's too late, as Moro has gained a lot of energy through Gohan. Goku would try to jump in, but he would see that he doesn't have any energy either. Moro would then begin to pick off the fighters, as they would try to fight, but it would come to nothing, and Moro would gain much more strength and youth. Moro would then drain the Saiyans and prepares to kill the Saiyans until Babidi would arrive and demand Moro to give up his energy for Boo. Moro would then smirk as he'd rush over to Babidi and thrust his arm through his body. Babidi would be shocked and would ask how he's disobeying, with Moro commenting that this little shrimp's magic is nothing in comparison to his own, and that their little alliance was just for his own ends meet. Moro then kills off Babidi and the rest of his henchmen. Moro would look back, but would watch as the Kais would grab onto the Saiyans and taking them away. Moro would smirk as the Majin emblem would fade away, and he would begin to drain Earth of its energy. But since he hasn't gotten his youth restored, it would take some time. In the realm of the Kais, they decide that Moro is an even larger threat and they decide that they should have the three train the Z Sword. But Vegeta would decide against it and demand the Kais to tell him directions to planet Yardrat. Vegeta would still be insistent on going, but Goku would tell Vegeta that training with the Yardratians took him a lot of time and he didn't even master his spirit control. The group wouldn't know what to do, but Moro was draining the Earth's energy, and soon enough the Earth would be destroyed, so they would need some help. Goku would get into contact with the Namekians, asking them to bring the people of Earth to Namek for the time being, so none of their loved ones are killed. They would grant the wish, with everyone on Earth being transported to Namek, and the Namekians would take care of them. They would have two more wishes, with Vegeta butting in, saying that he wants to be sent to Yardrat, with Piranga granting the wish before anyone could say anything. They would have one last wish, with Goku trying to think of another wish, but Gohan would butt in, asking for Goku to be brought back to life. Goku would be shocked to hear this, but Gohan would say that they need him this time, and dying while dead isn't exactly going to help them. The wishes would be made, and the groups would go on to train, but meanwhile on Earth, Moro would watch as a certain large pink cloud would be creeping towards him slowly. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and if you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys give it a like, share, and subscribe, and also comment below your ideas of wacky what ifs. And yeah, if you have any crazy ideas, just let me know in the comments below. I'm trying to figure out some stuff myself, but at the same time, I have a ton of things. But the thing with these wacky what ifs is that some of them are really, really good, but they're the ones that I want to expand on. I won't give any names to any certain what ifs, because I'm not for sure if I'm going to have this as a legitimate what if or not. But some of them in there are probably going to become legitimate ones and non-legitimate ones. So I know I also left Moro on a cliffhanger, so I will continue that in another wacky what if. But for right now, that's just going to be a part 1 to the part 2 of wacky what ifs. So stay tuned for another Moro episode, and yeah, that'll be it for today. Later, guys. Moro would then smirk as... Okay. My bad. My dog is right here. Anyways, Moro would then smirk as... Go away. Okay.